program, and it may just be useful for a reminder that when we went through the selection committee, or through the selection exercise, we looked at their contributions to education, research, training, and applications in urban regional information systems and geographic information systems and science, and we probably should have added service, because both StatsCan and the U.S. Census Bureau have done all of that to an extremely high degree. The other part I think that was important and why it's useful to have somebody from the methodology field here is URISA, I think, was the first organization that could legitimately lay claim, director of the National Geospatial Program. Mark?
Well, good morning to all of you, and thank you very much for the chance to have 5 minutes to talk a little bit about the institution that I work for and that I am so proud to be a part of. I love the U.S. Geological Survey. It's a great organization with a great history, and really it's an honor to be representing the USGS in front of all of you, one of our key partner organizations, URISA, here this morning. I see we have Sherry Snyder's in the audience. Sherry, raise your hand. She's a USGS employee. Other USGS employees in the back, raise your hand. Very good to see you here. So on behalf of my director, Marcia McNutt, I would like to say very much thank you to URISA for honoring us with this award today. And recognizing the work of the thousands of USGS employees over the decades that have produced the geospatial baseline of the United States and made major contributions to the industry of GIS and geographic information science. You probably know already quite a bit about the USGS because of the professions that you work in. Most people who know the USGS know us for our earthquakes and for our maps. But we actually do quite a bit of other work. We have a very large role to play in water resources. About half of the employees of the U.S. Geological Survey work in our water programs. We have a biological component. We do ecosystem studies. We work in informatics. We fly and operate the Landsat imaging sensor. So a pretty diverse organization. This is our Organic Act statement, and I put this slide up here really just to say that we've been here for 133 years, and so we're an organization with some longevity. Longevity is a strength in an organization that's about studying the Earth and its processes. It allows us to develop long-term and persistent databases for water resources, for land use change, for all kinds of environmental information. It's an interesting organization, too, because in 133 years, we've had only 15 directors. Dr. McNutt is our 15th, and she's the first woman director of the USGS. We're very proud of that she was asked to join us. She was appointed by President Obama. I've had the privilege to work for 5 of the 15 directors at USGS, and so it's really been an amazing place for a person like me to develop a career. Virtually every part of the USGS has made some contribution to our geographic information systems and geographic information science role, and I will try to focus on the part of the program that I know best, and I'll just say a few words about the program I oversee and some of the contributions that we're currently making to further the field. So we do develop and publish the national map for the United States. The USGS is the National Civilian Mapping Organization for the United States, and we do that today by providing a geospatial baseline for the United States, and that geospatial baseline is our national map. And the national map today is data services. We publish through web services 8 thematic layers of information. They're shown on the slide here. I won't read them to you, but they're the base map content you would expect to find in any topographic mapping program. You can get that data directly as a data service and download it or just process it over the web in your applications. We also provide data visualization. If you want to see the data, we provide a web portal activity that is our national map viewer that allows people to find, view, and if you wish, download our geospatial data. All of our data is in the public domain and is freely available. The national map today includes online maps. This is our national atlas, a small-scale representation of the geography and information of the United States, and our more traditional topographic maps, and I'll say a bit more about those on a subsequent slide. We also provide historical information, and that's actually the slide I'm going to show you last to summarize that. So I mentioned we publish our data in web services. Why is that important? Well, what it means is you can take the national map base data that we publish over the web and bring web services into a mashup, if you will, and use our base map to provide context to other data and other information. This first slide in this series shows the USGS base map information as a background with another data set from the Geological Survey from our biological program that's called the Protected Areas Database. Every land parcel in the United States that has some sort of conservation status associated with it is part of this PAD, Protected Area Data Set. And it's a web service also, so you can bring that into the national map and provide that geographic context to that base information. Similarly, our companion organization in the Department of Interior, Fish and Wildlife Service, publishes the National Wetlands Inventory. This slide shows the NWI, or National Wetlands Inventory information, overlaid on USGS base map content. Similarly, you can bring in other layers. This is surficial geology from the geologic mapping program that the USGS overlaid on the base map information. And these examples are really just to show you that the role of a base mapping organization and the data that we produce is to provide context for the scientific applications that occur across our communities. I want to talk a little bit about our topographic maps because it's a very interesting story. We've come full circle. We started out as an organization that produced just, and I'm talking about the mapping part of USGS now, just paper topographic maps. That's how we delivered geospatial information to the nation. And in about 1930, we settled in on the scale of 1 to 24,000, and over about 55 years, we produced the complete set of 1 to 24,000 scale topographic maps of the United States. Completing that project in about 1990. About that same time, we began deconstructing, if you will, the topographic maps by digitizing the different thematic layers on those maps and publishing them as initial contributions to the GIS industry. We call these digital line graphs. You'll probably remember the DLGs that were digitized from those maps. And then those digital databases for elevation, for transportation, for boundaries, all the thematic layers kind of went on and led lives of their own and progressed and developed and grew further and further apart from the topographic map that at one point had bound them together. Well, we've now come full circle, and starting in 2009, we reinstituted our topographic mapping production program. This time, rather than doing surveys in the field, we're drawing from the digital databases that we've spent 20 years now creating and maintaining and producing new, all-digital topographic maps on a production cycle that would have been inconceivable in years past. Since November of 2009, we've published almost 54,000 brand new 1 to 24,000 scale topographic maps that include not just the content you would typically find on a topographic map, but also a digital ortho imagery as a part of that map. We deliver them as GeoPDF files, and since those maps have gone into production, more than 1.7 million have been downloaded by users around the world. And so we really are very happy to have come back full cycle in our process, where we're now producing and providing not just the digital databases of the United States, but a digital topographic map that the map user can rely on. And a couple of interesting statistics about that digital topographic map. We just, September 13th, just a little less than 3 weeks ago, we finished the first 3-year cycle of the contiguous 48 states. So during that 3-year period, every map in the 48 states was replaced. Alaska is beginning in 2013, this current fiscal year that started just yesterday, and Hawaii is in work. So we produced about 18,000 maps a year over that 3-year cycle, and with a unit cost of those maps being about $3,000 a piece, and that includes the cost of developing the digital databases that map was drawn from, so the NED for elevation, the National Hydrography data set for the hydro, and so on. That's about 1/10 the unit cost of our mapping program in, say, 40 years ago in 1972. It was about $33,000, $34,000 per map in those days. So one way to look at this is, with our program today, we're providing about 5 times as many maps as we were in 1972, and we're doing it for about 1/10 the unit cost, and we're doing it with 18% of the personnel that we had in 1972. We had 2,079 employees in 1972. We have about 380 in the mapping program at USGS today. This is just an example of what those new maps look like. This is an enlargement of the maps, and it's the same map, one with the image layer on, one with the image layer off. These maps are layered products, and the Geopedia format allows you to turn layers on and off at will, so you can, if there's a layer that you're distracted by, like when you find the image makes it difficult to read the contours, you can simply just turn the image layer off. And I think these graphics show you that this is a very high quality and very attractive map that meets both the aesthetic and accuracy standards of the U.S. Geological Survey's mapping program. And now finally, to complete coming full circle, we are just within days of finishing a 4-year project to scan, georeference, put into Geopedia, and make available for free over the web every topographic map that the U.S. Geological Survey has ever produced since the early 1880s through the present day. There are now over 177,000 of these scanned georeferenced historical maps available for free for download over the web. And these didn't even actually hit the web until about July of 2011. Since just July of 2011, more than 3 million of these historic topographic maps have been downloaded by people all around the world. They're available for the whole country, every map, every series, every scale, so you can do land use change over time, or if you just want a beautiful map of the town that you were born in, you can download that and have it. So with this last image showing the John Wesley Powell, our second director, this is an image that was taken at the beginning of his second expedition down the Green and Colorado rivers. I don't have to tell you which person in the photograph is Powell. You can tell by the commanding presence that his posture indicates. He was a remarkable leader. I work in the John Wesley Powell building in Reston, Virginia, and I'm a great fan of our second director, who is the one who institutionalized the topographic mapping program at the USGS. And if there are any photography buffs in the audience, on the left side of this image, in front of that small boat that's beached on the land there, you'll see a small canvas structure on a tripod. That little canvas structure was the darkroom that the photographer who took this picture used to paint the wet emulsion onto the glass plate, 8x10 glass plate, before he put it into his camera and exposed this particular image. So with that, I'd just like to say again, thank you so much for the honor that you have bestowed on the U.S. Geological Survey and its employees. And on behalf of them, I say thank you very much.
Well, it's very clear why the U.S. Geological Survey was recognized The next recipient is Natural Resources Canada. For those of you who are Canadians or of short memory, you don't necessarily have to be non-Canadians, of course. It used to be originally Energy, Mines and Resources. It since became Natural Resources Canada. But back in the early days, a number of us, I think, had the opportunity of working with the mapping branch back in the 1960s. And we're just delighted, we certainly as a Canadian, I'm delighted that the recognition was given to this group along with StatsCan. And for Natural Resources Canada, it's going to be given by, is it Denny or Denny Ames, who is the Director of the Geomatic Survey Division of the Canada Centre for Remote Sensing. Denny.
Bonjour tout le monde, bon matin, merci beaucoup. Donc au Canada, il y a 2 langues officielles. There are 2 official languages in Canada, so that's enough for the French. I'm going to continue in English.
Oh, they love it. I can tell by looking at them. Continue.
Yeah. We can continue at the break if you want to have a chat. Rosemary is also fluently bilingual. I would like to extend my thanks to URISA for establishing the GIS Hall of Fame and for recognizing our department. I would especially like to thank Dr. Barry Weller. Barry for nominating, for helping, for supporting the nomination of NRCan for this award, and all the group that he mentioned earlier. I would also like to recognize the president of URISA, Greg Babinski, and Claudia Paskaskas, GIS-Pro 2012 chair, and URISA members for organizing this excellent conference. I am honored to be receiving this Hall of Fame recognition on behalf of the 3 branches of Geomatics Canada, which include the Mapping Information Branch, Surveyor General Branch, and the Canada Centre for Remote Sensing. With its current workforce and many employees who contributed their career on and now retired, this is a great honor for us. Our Minister, Joe Oliver, who provides his thanks for this award, said, this award is a celebration of the accomplishment of our employees and partners who have advanced geomatics innovation in Canada and beyond. Natural Resources Canada, Geomatics Canada, as legacies evolved through 3 key stages over the past 50 years. First, the foundation, second, the collaboration, and third, the societal integration. Some key accomplishments include the following. NRCan played a lead role in the development of automated cartography in the 60s. The automated cartography team developed design specifications in 1969 and began work on the AutoCarto system for the digitization of existing graphics. The Atlas of Canada's stories begins in 1906, publishing the inaugural edition, the second national atlas in the world after Finland in 1899. In 1994, the Atlas of Canada migrated from paper to digital. The interactive web-based atlas became the first of its kind in the world. The Canada Centre for Remote Sensing, CCRS, is the Centre of Excellence for Remote Sensing and Geodesy. CCRS ensures that Earth observation from satellites serves the needs of Canada. CCRS researchers developed a core science that supports development of Earth observation satellite, sensors, geodetic and gravity data quality, and data handling methodologies. In 1999, the GeoConnections program was established to develop the Canadian Geospatial Data Infrastructure, CGDI. The program continues today to develop technically sophisticated infrastructures and standards. GeoConnections partnerships and services are making Canadian geospatial data more accessible and widely used in an ever more diverse set of applications that benefit Canada, governments, academia, and the private sector. At Natural Resources Canada, we are laying the foundation for future geomatics on the country. Recently, the Government of Canada announced funding of $38.9 million for NRCan's satellite station facilities renewal with state-of-the-art antennas. The MyCLSS, My Canada Land Survey System, is a joint venture between the Association of Canada Land Surveyors and the Surveyor General Branch that resulted in the development of a web portal integrating respective statutory processes, creating the backbone of a fully online cadastral survey management system. Within the federal family, Natural Resources Canada has been playing a lead role in establishing the Federal Committee on Geomatics and Earth Observation, FCGEO, and the Federal GNSS Coordination Board, FGCB, to target strategic investment and realize enhanced economic societal benefits for Canada. FCGEO and FGCB include up to 21 federal departments. In closing, I would like to thank URISA and also congratulate the other agencies receiving this honor today. Merci beaucoup.
And now we're going to come to the fifth, and for me, there's a special touch to the National Aeronautics and Space Administration in that I saw my first satellite image in 1967 with the Earth Science Division. Lawrence?
Good morning, everyone, and thank you very much. And it's an honor to be mentioned along with the other inductees. And first, I wanted to say thanks to Pete Croswell for you and working with Dale Pedrocki and nominating us, as well as Barry, your help, and Al Little, and Wendy. So it was a pleasure to meet you, and really thanks for all your help. Let me add, on behalf of NASA, let me add our congratulations to URISA on your 50th annual conference. It was only just a couple years before that first conference that NASA in the United States launched the first environmental satellite. This was the TIROS-1 as a meteorological satellite, and it really sort of opened up this view that you could be looking at and understanding the Earth from space. Look ahead to currently today, we have 16 satellites. These are the NASA satellites that are looking at the Earth. Obviously, there are some by other countries, as well as some by other agencies like NOAA. And so these 16 satellites have a lot of international partnerships, and they're looking at the Earth from a number of different perspectives. The nice thing about the satellites, you can get the global picture, and here's just 8 samples of some of the environmental data that you can be looking at. I understand these are sort of from a global standpoint, and this crowd is especially looking down at the urban regional issues. And so we're certainly conscious of the fact that there are issues of scale, and we are looking at NASA how to take from the globals down to the continental, down to the regional, and down to the urban scales. And so we're looking at issues related to that. But we also recognize the fact that these environmental parameters are also playing into water availability, food security, public health sorts of issues, which are all topics that are of concern, whether you're at urban or other areas. And so NASA's really looking at this as the Earth from an integrated system. And I find it interesting on this chart that the cities is really at the center of this chart, quite appropriate for this audience. And it's really looking at the interactions between these systems and where humans are very much part of this system. And looking at urban areas, and we understand, the expected growth in urban areas, and how urban areas are going to be affecting climate and how climate's going to be affecting urban areas, but really looking at this as an overall integrated system. And I would say that this is part of the key part of NASA's Earth Science program, certainly looking at satellites and technology, but also supporting the research. And I'm sure some of you have been doing and conducting research that maybe NASA has sponsored, but also looking at how do we promote the applications of this data and the processes that we're understanding and getting into some of the modeling capabilities so that we can be doing scenarios, as Michael Goodchild talked about yesterday. And I would say that oftentimes when you're looking at NASA and people are thinking about the space station and going to Mars and the Hubble Space Telescope, that Earth science is maybe the best kept secret in NASA. Well, perhaps not to this community, but you'd be surprised by how many times that people I talk with aren't aware that NASA even has an Earth science program. So anything you can do to help people be aware of it, we'd certainly be appreciated. The satellites and providing the data, but we really appreciate what you all are doing with the observations and with the data. And it's you all who are really bringing the benefits to society from these data products. And so from that standpoint, we dedicate this honor back to you all. It's for all the investments that the nation has been making in NASA and the Earth science satellites over the years and the data products. It's really you all who are making that value to the public, to the nation, to the world. And maybe when we're on Mars someday, I'm sure that URISA will be there with a chapter on Mars.